In a world that constantly tries to tell women what they cannot do, I am here to remind you of what you can do. Strength is not about how loud you are, but how deeply rooted you are. Just like a tree stands firm against storms, a strong woman stands unshaken when life tests her. Today I want to share with you 7 rules, not just for surviving, but for thriving, for becoming a woman of unshakable strength, guided by values, rooted in wisdom, and inspired by God's timeless principles of life. A strong woman is not one who never falls, but one who rises every time she does. She is not defined by the world's approval, but by her own inner dignity. True strength is not about domination, but about balance, the balance between courage and compassion, firmness and gentleness, discipline and kindness. And when this balance is guided by divine wisdom, it creates a woman who can inspire generations. Today, let us explore together the 7 rules that can help every woman unlock her true strength and shine like a light in a world that often prefers shadows. When we talk about strength, most people immediately think of muscles, money, or influence. But the foundation of real strength begins with something far more invisible, yet infinitely more powerful: self-respect. Without self-respect, no matter how successful or beautiful or intelligent a woman is, she will always feel empty. With self-respect, even if she has little in her hands, she will walk with a dignity that no one can take away. Self-respect is the silent power that speaks before you even open your mouth. It's the energy that people feel when you walk into a room. It's not about arrogance, and it's not about pride. It's about knowing your worth so deeply that you don't need constant approval or validation from others. Think about it. How many times in daily life do we sacrifice our self-respect just to please someone? Maybe we stay silent when someone crosses a boundary. Maybe we say yes when our heart is screaming no. Maybe we shrink our voice because we fear people will judge us. Every time we do this, we are teaching the world how little or how much we respect ourselves. A woman who respects herself sets the tone for how others will treat her. If she values her time, people will value it. If she honors her boundaries, people will honor them. If she stands tall, people cannot push her down easily. Let me give you a simple daily life example. Imagine a woman at work. She is capable, talented, and hardworking, but her colleagues often try to dump extra tasks on her. If she accepts silently every single time, people begin to think it's her duty to carry everyone's load. But the moment she says, with calm firmness, I would love to help, but I also have my own responsibilities to focus on, something shifts. The respect she gives herself becomes the respect she receives. Self-respect is not selfishness. It is self-awareness. It is recognizing that you too are a human being deserving of love, peace, and dignity. When you respect yourself, you no longer allow toxic people to define your happiness. You no longer beg for scraps of affection. You no longer chase validation in relationships where you are treated as an option. Instead, you create standards, not walls. Standards that protect your peace, your values, and your growth. Think about relationships in daily life. Many times, people stay in unhealthy connections because they are afraid of loneliness. They accept insults disguised as jokes, control disguised as care, or neglect disguised as business. Why? Because deep down, they fear they are not worthy of better. But a woman with self-respect knows that solitude with dignity is far better than company with disrespect. She would rather stand alone with her head high than be surrounded by people who lower her spirit. Self-respect also teaches us how to say no without guilt and yes without fear. A strong woman doesn't have to shout or fight to prove her worth. Her calm clarity is enough. Let's take another daily life scenario. Imagine a mother who spends her entire day caring for her family. Everyone in the house has become so used to her sacrifices that they don't even say thank you anymore. One day, she decides to gently remind them, I am happy to give, but I also need time for myself. That single act of respecting her own needs plants a seed in her children's minds. They learn to respect her more, and in turn, they learn the value of respect in their own lives. When a woman respects herself, she also inspires others. She becomes a mirror, showing other women that it is possible to stand tall without being rude, to be kind without being weak, to be gentle without being taken advantage of. She becomes a living example of dignity. And the beauty of self-respect is that it doesn't shout, it doesn't demand. It simply radiates, and people feel it. Remember, the world outside is only a reflection of the world inside. If you treat yourself with care, love, and respect, the world will eventually learn to do the same. But if you constantly put yourself down, settle for less, or ignore your own boundaries, the world will also mirror that treatment back to you. So let me say this clearly. You are not defined by how many people approve of you. You are not defined by the labels society places on you. You are not defined by the mistakes of your past. You are defined by how much you value yourself in this very moment. A strong woman looks in the mirror and says, I may not be perfect, but I am worthy. I may not have everything, but I have dignity. And no one, no person, no situation, no failure can take that away from me. Self-respect is the crown that never falls, the shield that protects you, and the sword that cuts through negativity. Wear it, guard it, and live by it. Because once you learn to respect yourself, you will no longer have to chase respect from others. It will follow you naturally, like a shadow that never leaves your side. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many people think discipline is about restriction, about saying no to pleasures, about living a life without joy. But true discipline is not a prison, it is freedom. It is the ability to guide your own life instead of being pulled in 1,000 directions by temptations, distractions, and moods. Without discipline, life is like a boat without a rudder, moving wherever the current takes it. With discipline, you become the captain of your own journey. Think of a river. A river is powerful because it flows within its boundaries. The banks of the river give it direction. If there were no boundaries, that same water would just spread into a swamp, stagnant and powerless. Discipline works the same way in our lives. It is not meant to suffocate us. It is meant to channel our energy, to give us direction, and to make us powerful. Let me give you a daily life example. Imagine a woman who wants to improve her health. Every morning, her alarm rings at 6 a.m. She has two choices: snooze the alarm and get some more sleep, or rise with determination and honor her commitment to herself. The first few days, it feels difficult, but with discipline, she chooses to get up. Over time, her body becomes stronger, her mind sharper, and her confidence higher. People around her begin to notice the glow of her consistency. What gave her that glow? Not luck, not talent, but discipline. Discipline is the quiet strength behind every success story. A woman may dream of building a career, starting a business, or mastering a skill. But dreams without discipline are like seeds scattered on stone. They never grow. It is discipline that waters those seeds every day until they become trees. It is waking up earlier, staying focused longer, and persisting when the excitement has faded. Anyone can start, but only discipline helps you finish. Let's take another daily example. Think of a young girl who loves music. She picks up the guitar, and at first, she struggles. Her fingers hurt, the chords sound off, and frustration builds. She could give up, and many do. But if she chooses discipline, practicing for 1 hour daily, after a few months, her music starts to flow, and people are moved by the sound she creates. They applaud her talent, but behind that applause is the hidden hand of discipline. Discipline is not just about external goals, it is also about mastering our inner world. Emotions, impulses, and moods can sometimes make us act in ways we regret. A strong woman disciplines her emotions. When anger rises, she pauses instead of exploding. When sadness tempts her to withdraw, she reminds herself of her purpose. When procrastination whispers, "Do it tomorrow," she replies, "I will do it today." This inner discipline gives her power over herself, and that is the highest form of power. In daily life, we see how lack of discipline creates suffering. A woman may spend hours scrolling on her phone, losing track of time, while her dreams remain untouched. Another may eat unhealthy food every day, ignoring her health until her body begins to protest. Another may keep postponing her studies or projects, waiting for the right mood, which never arrives. These small acts of indiscipline may feel harmless in the moment, but over time they steal our future. On the other hand, discipline creates beauty in small, consistent actions. A woman who disciplines her time learns to balance her career, her family, and her self-care without feeling drained. A woman who disciplines her words knows when to speak and when silence has more power. A woman who disciplines her thoughts fills her mind with positivity instead of complaints, with gratitude instead of envy. These small acts of discipline accumulate into strength that shines in her character. And let us not forget, discipline is not about perfection. No one is perfectly disciplined all the time. Even the strongest people fall. But what makes them strong is their ability to rise again and return to discipline, just like a river that may twist and turn but always finds its way back to the ocean. A simple but powerful truth is this: freedom without discipline is chaos, but discipline creates true freedom. For example, if a woman disciplines her spending habits, she enjoys financial freedom. If she disciplines her health, she enjoys freedom from sickness. If she disciplines her mind, she enjoys freedom from anxiety. Discipline is not a punishment, it is an investment in your future self. Every strong woman you admire has one thing in common: discipline. Behind every graceful dancer is countless hours of practice. Behind every respected leader are years of consistent effort. Behind every mother who balances her family and her work is the daily discipline of patience and love. So ask yourself, where in your life do you need discipline? Is it in your habits, your time, your emotions, your words? Start small. Maybe it's as simple as waking up 10 minutes earlier, drinking more water, or reading one page of a good book daily. These little disciplines may seem insignificant, but like drops of water filling a jar, they build a reservoir of strength inside you. Remember this: discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. Without it, your dreams remain dreams. With it, your dreams become your reality. A strong woman is not born, she is built. And the tool that builds her is discipline. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward even when fear is standing in front of you. Every woman faces fear: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. But a strong woman is not the one who never feels fear, she is the one who learns to walk hand in hand with it and still keeps moving. Think about it. Fear is like a shadow. No matter where you go, it follows. You cannot destroy it completely, but you can learn to live above it. Courage is like the sun. The moment it rises, the shadow of fear becomes smaller. The bigger your courage, the smaller your fear. Take a simple daily life example. A young woman has a dream to start her own small business, maybe baking cakes or designing clothes. But in her mind, questions begin to rise. What if I fail? What will people say? What if no one supports me? Fear surrounds her like a dark cloud. But if she chooses courage, she takes the first step. She starts small, learns from her mistakes, and slowly grows. That business may or may not become a huge empire, but one thing is certain: she will become stronger, more confident, and more alive. Why? Because she chose courage over fear. Courage is not always about big, dramatic acts. Sometimes, courage is quiet. It is the courage to say no when everyone expects you to say yes. It is the courage to walk away from a toxic relationship, even when your heart is attached. It is the courage to speak the truth in a room full of silence. It is the courage to stand alone when everyone else is following the crowd. In daily life, courage shows up in small moments that shape who we are. A mother who sends her child to school with hope, despite financial struggles, is showing courage. A student who raises her hand in class to ask a question, even if others might laugh, is showing courage. A woman who decides to take care of her mental and physical health, even when the world tells her to keep sacrificing herself endlessly, is showing courage. These acts may look ordinary, but they are extraordinary because they require a brave heart. One of the biggest lies fear tells us is this: you are not ready. And so we keep waiting for the perfect time, waiting for more confidence, waiting for permission. But the truth is, courage doesn't wait for the perfect moment. Courage creates the moment. When you act with courage, confidence follows. When you step forward despite fear, you realize fear was never as big as it appeared. Imagine a woman who wants to speak in public. The first time she stands on stage, her heart races, her hands tremble, and her voice shakes. People might laugh, or she might even forget her words. But if she keeps showing up, her courage grows. Eventually, that same woman who once feared speaking becomes the one whose words move hearts and inspire lives. What changed? Not the absence of fear, but the presence of courage. Courage also means embracing failure as a teacher, not as an enemy. Too often, we let the fear of failure stop us from trying. But failure is not the opposite of success, it is a step toward it. A strong woman knows that every failure carries a lesson, and every lesson carries her closer to her goal. Without courage, failure becomes the end. With courage, failure becomes the beginning of wisdom. Think about a child learning to walk. The child falls again and again. But does she give up? No, she pulls herself up again and again until she finally walks.